Hola, cage fighting connoisseurs, and this is KidNativeBloodyElbow.com, joined by Zane Simon, and we have just spent hours of our lives watching UFC from Glasgow, UFC Fight Night 72, Bisping versus Latest. Pretty good main event. How did you score it, Zane?
I scored it for Bisping. I thought he took a pretty
What
clear
was your
decision.
score?
48-47, I think. I gave latest 2 rounds.
So you had
Maybe.
it going even into the last round.
Yeah, I mean, I would have also been fine with 49-46 Bisping. I thought that the second round was really just like too close to call either way. I could edge it either way, so
Was the
uh
second round the round where Latest ended up on top?
yeah, I think it was
I
where
think
he
that's
he
why I
was.
gave it to him.
Yeah, he was on top like right at the end, but it was a really back and forth round. So
But good action on the whole, I'd have to say. A good back and forth fight. It's always frustrating to watch Bisping win a fight for me because I never have liked the guy, and he's never going to get a big definitive. Or it seems like he's gotten knockouts, but the classic Bisping fight is a fight like this, even decision, where he outscores a guy who hits him harder, but outpoints him.
yeah, I mean it's all it's pure sort of like tactical MMA. What actually makes the difference in winning rounds? And I mean, may not fans may not love it all the time, but it at least it's sort of like standard setting stuff of like, well, this is how you win a fight.
Yeah, and there was steady action all the way through. I mean, you
Yeah,
can't say these guys weren't firing with hurtful intentions. It does get a bit frustrating though when guys are not fighting to necessarily win. So,
yeah.
well, not that not fighting to win, but to get a finish, which
Yeah, not
is
fighting to finish. Bisping's classically. I mean, it's always just been like he doesn't want to get hard because he gets dropped when he goes in just to change, exchanges, throws hands, he gets dropped, and so he's always looking, how where can I pick my spots, keep the jab out there. Occasionally, he'll come in and land something big and get right back out, and it's smart MMA, but it's not the MMA that is gonna like light the world on fire.
no, and the co-main event, Evan Dunham and Ross Pearson also went to decision, but Dunham was totally dominant. Stylistic edge for Dunham. He could take Pearson down and out grapple him, and he did well enough on the feet in the first round that set up his takedowns, and that was all I needed.
Yeah, I mean, Pearson, unfortunately, like he's just foot slow, and so there's not really a lot of like even when his footwork is good, it's hard for him to get out of the way of somebody who's looking to take him down. And Dunham, Dunham was there to win a fight. Like guys are getting to the point in their career with Evan Dunham and Ross Pearson where they know like I got to keep winning. Like I can't. I went on a 0-3 streak in the UFC and they somehow didn't cut me. I can't come out and just like throw caution to the wind.
Yeah, but he was still plenty aggressive, and,
Yeah, he
and
was.
even in the third round after he had won the first two pretty convincingly. So I do want to talk before we get completely off the main event. Bisping came in ranked to number 9. Latest was ranked to number 10. Does Bisping move up after this, or is this just a placeholder?
I forgot who's above him. Let me see.
You got Kennedy, Musasi, Silva, Anderson Silva, Machida, Belfort, Romero,
He
Jacare, and
probably,
Rockhold.
weirdly, he probably could move up over Kennedy. Not, I mean, Kennedy beat him, so that it doesn't make much sense in that way. But Kennedy's also not fighting right now. Like Kennedy has just said, there aren't any fights out there that look good to me. I'm not going to take any fights right now. So at
Which is
that
a
point, like,
strange career move for Kennedy.
yeah, I mean, probably it suggests that he doesn't need the money, and that then he's just tired of what all the crap that the UFC is doing to make his job harder.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and Kennedy is somebody who's somewhat linked with various troublemakers and malcontents. So the relationship between Kennedy and the UFC, I think, is a strained one to begin with. So let's move on to the rest of the card. Anything else to say about Dunham and Pearson?
no, it was just Dunham came out with a smart game to implement to get a win, and he got a win. And Pearson, like neither of these guys are going to be ranked lightweights probably ever. they just got to keep winning and putting on fun fights to stay in the UFC.
Yeah, at one point I think Dunham might have had the potential to be ranked, but ever since he lost that decision to Sean Sherrick, that slipped away from him a long time ago. All right, so we'll run it up from the beginning. Your boy Daniel Milinchik destroyed Chris De La Rocca to
My
open the
boy?
fight pass part of the card. Well, you were on the hype train early on, or at least excited about his debut.
No, I wasn't. Not about Omalanchik.
No, come on, he's foreign, he's new.
No. I mean,
okay, all right. Well,
I've always hoped that Omalanchik could get wins in the UFC, and yeah, I mean, for once, heavyweight looked like a normal division in which the 0-4 or the 4-0 newcomer coming in on short notice gets beat by somebody who has way more experience than him. Like,
and beaten badly.
Yeah, like there's no reason that De La Roca, by any common MMA law of rationality, should win that fight. But it's heavyweight, so it's sort of a fight where you're like, well, fuck, I don't know. He might knock him out. We have no idea. So yeah. I'm glad that it at least looked like something passing for reality.
Yeah, it was a 48-second beatdown of the new guy, Chris De La Rocca. And then the bantamweight, Jimmy Rivera, demolished Marcus Brimage in a minute 29.
Yeah.
I didn't, what do you say about that? Rivera looked good.
Yeah, I'm happy. I mean, Brimage has gotten to the point. It's one of those unfortunate things where I think Brimage has gotten just good enough to really like put himself in trouble. Where early on, when he didn't have the skill, he maybe stayed out of trouble a little more and stayed on the outside, really just tried to leap in with big shots, hold guys against the cage. Now he's actually become a pretty good striker. And I thought, he was winning early against Rivera, but that's just exposed the fact that he's not very durable. And so that's a tough place to be in.
Lost 4 out of 5, with 3 of those losses by KO or TKO. So, I don't know if Brimage is long for the UFC. And moving on to the opening fights, Fox Sports 1 card fight, featherweight Rob Whiteford and Paul Redmond. Whiteford knocked him out. Pretty exciting fight. Lots of back and forth. Pretty even until the end, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's a lot like the Rivera-Brimage fight where Redmond has also like gotten enough skill now to show off that he's not going to be a good fighter in the UFC. Like, he's good. I thought he was winning that fight too. Like, he was outboxing Whiteford. He was landing more shots. Even staying good with his combos. But Whiteford's actually a really pretty good athlete who punches hard. And sooner or later, he caught Redmond coming in and countered him and put him out. And like,
that's all.
Not much you can do with that.
No. It's not fair, but.
Yeah, I was gonna say featherweight's full of guys like Whiteford. Like, that's not that's an unusual fighter for featherweight.
Yeah, and so it's just life's not fair. You can train really hard. You can be a pretty skilled athlete, pretty good, but if you don't have an excellent chin, you're not gonna be able to hang in the UFC. That's just life. All right, and that brings on to lightweight Michael Labout versus Teemu Packalén in a fight I could not tell these guys apart, and the uniforms were making it worse because they're just. One guy's in black except one leg is white, and the other guy's in white with one leg that's black, and they both had the same stupid haircut. And it was a pretty good back and forth fight. I mean, I wouldn't say it was like a scintillating display of skills or anything, but there was a range of motion. They were fighting on the feet. Both guys were landing on the feet. Both guys had their moments in the grappling exchanges, and both guys had moments of just, what are you thinking? How did you give up that position and find yourself here?
Yeah, I mean, both guys are coming from like regional wrestling and grappling backgrounds that are not known for being like awesomely structured regional wrestling and grappling backgrounds. Finland and France, sometimes they turn out some good fighters, but it's not one of those places where it's like, oh yes, the long, high collegiate wrestling career that.
These guys didn't emerge from the top of a Shark Tank here. They're kind of in a backwater, and they made it to the UFC. Labout won the decision, unanimous. Lost a round on 2 judges' cards. Nothing really to complain about. Packalén came in on short notice. Pretty good performance, definitely gutsy. But I don't see either of these guys breaking out of the European circuit anytime soon.
Yeah, Packlin's a better athlete. Like, he's the better athlete. He's a more powerful fighter. I could see, if he can get to a big camp and like really get some good training, maybe he could really refine his game and make a run. But otherwise, I just hope they're both like fun action fighters for UFC's Europe cards. That's kind of what they're showing here.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Now we come to light heavyweight. Ilir Latifi Demolished Hans Stringer, 56 seconds. Stringer was supposed to be the striker here, walked into a huge punch. What the fuck?
Yeah, Stringer opened the Ark of the Covenant there. That was my Twitter take on it.
Yes, well put. And
Yeah, like
I mean, he trains with Stefan Struve. Do they have no chins in their camp or?
well, what they have is they have a camp that seems to find like 17-year-old kids and put them in like 10 fights a year every year for their pro career. Stringer's a guy who's 28 and he's had 32 pro fights. You know,
That's you've seen a lot of action at that point.
yeah, he started his career a decade ago, and like that takes a toll. That's all training wear and cage wear, and he was never like a superb athlete. So over that time, it's just like now it's suddenly at 28, he's just the chin's going, the reflexes are slowing, and that's pretty harsh for a guy who's only still in his 20s.
Yeah, that's brutal. But Latifi looks good. He's strong. He's
Yeah.
powerful. He's tightened up his striking game. So picks up another win, onward and upward. Not sure I really want to see Stringer back in the UFC, but we'll see. And that gets us to flyweight. Patty Holohan beating Vaughn Lee. Unanimous decision. Took every round. Holohan dominated almost all the action, but Lee had a couple of moments.
Yeah, Lee. I don't know. Lee kind of, have you ever played those fighting games where they have like the practice mode where the guy just stands there and doesn't move and you get to like try out all your moves?
Yeah, that was
what I felt like Lee was in this fight. Like he had a couple moments, but mostly he was just like, "Oh, okay, I'm in this triangle choke. I guess I'll just ride out sitting in this for a whole round, or I'll just stand here on the feet and not throw anything and let
he was
you
fighting like he
unload."
came in on short notice and was desperately trying to conserve energy, but that doesn't seem to be the case. I don't know
No.
what the deal
Yeah.
was. He had a couple of moments though where he got a reversal or he landed a hard
Yeah.
shot, but otherwise Holohan it was just rallying away. Although I'm still baffled as to you and Connor are always bringing Holohan up as sort of an archetype.
Yes,
I still have no idea what you're talking
he's
about.
the dynamic striker or dynamic fighter with no fundamentals and no power.
Okay. Well, that makes
So
sense.
he's the guy
Definitely
who
no
does
power.
a bunch of wild and crazy stuff and it doesn't hurt anyone. And there's like no basic to the game. That's what you saw here. He just like wailed away on Lee, but it wasn't like, oh, and here's my jab, here's my nicely set up combo. It's just like, here's my spinning wheel kick from the outside, and then I'll like jump guard and throw on a triangle and ride that for a round.
Now I'm beginning to see. So yeah, that was what that performance was, and another win for Holohan.
Yeah, it's not impressive, but
no,
it's like,
and I expect him to keep feeding him the bottom of the flyweight division.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, it's kind of like in some ways, Cathal Pendred too, where it's just like he's gonna win a bunch of fights, and the whole time I'm just gonna be like, you're not,
Yeah,
I'm just waiting for you to hit that wall,
and you're not going anywhere. So
exactly.
Although the local fans seem to enjoy it, and that brings us to the main card, Fox Sports 1 card. Also, lightweight Stevie Ray defeated Leonardo Mafra with the final TKO of the fight. I mean, the early part of this card was all TKOs. Sometimes that sets the tone. This faded away. 2 minutes 30 seconds, and Ray demolished the Brazilian.
Yeah, I'm glad to see it. I mean, Ray's one of those fighters. He had a long kind of building up process because he started out just as like, a kid with zero experience in any kind of martial art at all. Started out just playing soccer and got talked into like, fighting in somebody's shed in their backyard. And it's taken a long time for him to build skills, but as he's developed, he's really shown that he's got, pretty good, well-rounded game, but he's got a lot of power. Just a lot of raw power and athleticism. And Mafra tried to trade shots with him and couldn't.
Yeah, no, it didn't do him any favors. So I'll be very curious to see where Ray goes from here. Promising so far, and he's only 25 years old. That brings us to welterweight. Leon Edwards defeated Pavel Pollock by unanimous decision. Took every round and every card. I think that's a little deceptive because Pavlik was in the fight the whole time and landed some pretty good shots and had some good moments in grappling exchanges.
Yeah, I mean, Edwards it was kind of a telling fight for Edwards. He showed that somebody who's willing to just come in and throw aggressively at him and stay on him can throw him off his game a bit, but he still totally outclassed Pavlik. I mean, it was one of those things where it's just like, why are you clinching? Why are you trying to grapple with this guy? You're clearly a better striker, but he still won every round and almost knocked Pavlik out. So, Edwards, hopefully it's just a learning experience fight kind of thing that helps him develop further, because it was a easy win that gave him a lot to work on.
Yeah. Nothing really to complain about. And then women's strawweight Joanne Calderwood riled up the hometown crowd, beating Courtney Casey. Casey came in on short notice and put in a game performance, came out aggressive early, but by the end of the fight, Calderwood had really taken control and really put it to her.
Yeah, I mean, Calderwood had to get a win, and she had to get this win, I think. It may have even helped more that she got hurt early, because she needs to rebuild her confidence. And so, getting hurt early and then being able to rally back and really put it on somebody, that may be more confidence building than just kind of cruising with somebody who wasn't there to compete. But it's the best Calderwood's looked for a few years now. Like, I think since she was back in Invicta on back in 2013, maybe. It's the best she's looked since early 2013.
Yeah. And good performance there. And then speaking of good performances, lightweight Joseph Duffy submitted Ivan George in the first round, 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Totally dominated a fight he was supposed to win, but surprising that he submitted the jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah, I mean, Duffy made the best of a no-win situation in which he was basically being set up to fight a guy that he should absolutely dominate, and he did the best by beating the guy at his own game. I mean, that's the best you can ask for a fight that a guy's supposed to be a showcase.
Yeah, he was favored by enormous margins, minus 800 and stuff like that in the betting odds. So good performance there. So that's pretty much. Any final thoughts on the card?
It started out really fun, but they went obviously over their time budget, even, because they had to cut to that straight cut, no post-fight speeches, no nothing. Game. Straight cut to a baseball game. It's one of it's just infuriating when the UFC has a Fox Sports 1 card that runs over. How do you, what are you doing? What are you padding this thing out with that you're going to go way over time?
Well, they're padding it out with commercials, and so Fox Sports 1 apparently sold a bundle of commercials, and so presumably that means it's making money for everybody. And so in a way, that's good. For the fans, though, this is a fight card that would have been over probably 2 hours earlier if it had been straight on Fight Pass, and that would have been just fine with me. But a 5-round main event theoretically should be picking up viewers the whole time, and we'll see if it held them, and maybe some of the baseball fans who tuned in for whatever game Fox Sports 1 had scheduled. I assume that was a regional thing, whatever team was playing in your region. So maybe they made some new fans. I mean, because the Bisping latest fight was definitely a sporting contest. It wasn't some kind of ghastly barbarity. It also wasn't embarrassing. You didn't have anybody gassed out and puffing around. You had two skilled, highly conditioned athletes in a good contest. So I could see if somebody, maybe it was a fight fan, middle-aged dude, like some boxing, sees this, this is kind of entertaining. So maybe there's some value there. Otherwise, just went on and on and on. And so much of it was commercials and talking heads. So we don't want to commit the same sin, so we'll wrap it up. Remember to give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Subscribe to MMANation.com on YouTube and on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at TheZaneSimon, at KidNate. Read us on BloodyElbow.com. We'll be back next week. Eugene will have Knuckle Up on Monday to look back at this, and then we're going into Fox Sports. UFC on Fox, Dillashaw versus Barao 2, the bantamweight title fight rematch. It should be a big week. We'll have all the fixins, care, don't care preview, MMA vivisection. And then that's kind of the end of, things get sane now. We had a ton of events in the last 2 weeks. Now we have one event per week, and then we're going into UFC 190 on August 1st with Rousey versus Correia. So stay here. We'll keep you up to date on all the action. Adios, MMA aficionados, and thanks a ton, Zane.